What's up, Buffalo Bill fans? I know I haven't done a video in quite a while, but I think it would be the right time to come and do a video. Granted, we've had the draft, free agency, and all this other stuff and transpire with the team. They've added quite a few new players, new faces, some to get excited about, some kind of skeptical about, but nevertheless, the 10 seasons coming up, we always get that itch as fans and as Bills fans, maybe something can happen, hoping against hope, but this video basically is titled 10 Reasons Why Buffalo's Offense Will Be Better Than Last Year. 10 reasons why the Bills' offense will be better. And this list is in no certain order. It's just 10 reasons why I feel like the unit will be better, and in turn will make the team better. Of course, we as Bills fans know that they don't get a lot of play in mainstream media, blogs, etc., and anytime it is, it's just to poke fun at them or something like that. Or just say, oh, why did they draft Jimmy Clausen? Well, the entire league had a chance at Jimmy Clausen twice in some instances, and they didn't take him. So, you can't knock the Bills for that too much. It's not like he was, somebody traded up and drafted him right after the Bills picked in round one. So, it just, I think it's more or less those guys' ego getting hurt by, just being wrong about where the guy was going to be taken. But nevertheless, 10 reasons why I feel like the Bills' offense is going to be better this season as opposed to the last few seasons, but last season more so. One thing became crystal clear after 3.5 years, 3.5 seasons, is Dick Jauron had no clue, no idea, just no concept of offense, what worked in today's NFL in terms of the offensive side of the football. No real scheme, no real idea, just no consistency with the play calling or just anything, personnel, just anything, just very gimmicky, very spur of the moment stuff, even during games. So there's just really no foolproof identity for the offensive unit for a while now, but definitely under Dick Jauron, it's been, we know Bills fans, it's definitely been painful for all of us to watch. An average finish of 26th overall in points in those years, and rounded it off to 29th in yards. So it's definitely been painful to watch, and we've seen a scrappy defense try to keep them in games year in and year out, and as we've seen in those years, that the defense definitely gets tired out, and in some cases I feel dejected at the end of games, and just kind of says, fuck it, the offense isn't going to score for us anyway, so why bother? And that's where you see teams racking up points late in games because the offense was just so inept. But again, let's get to these 10 reasons. Now, this first reason is rather interesting. Marshawn Lynch, so far being kept by the team. He won't serve that 3-game suspension, and so far the organization, Nix and Gailey, have been true to their word. They've kept Lynch. We've heard rumors about him being chopped, but nothing has come to fruition. So, it's just rumor, and I think it's important to keep Lynch. He's the guy, I think, that's going to take, the bruising type of runs up inside. He can definitely break some tackles and hurt teams for some tough yards. He's definitely not the kind of guy who's going to break one. He's very good ball security. He doesn't fumble much, really, if at all. And last year was Jackson's first year as a full-time feature back, and his body definitely took more pounding than it probably ever did in his career. So you definitely don't want to throw him back out there. I mean, he still is the feature back. He's the guy, but, Lynch will definitely take more heat off of him. And then you add in Spiller, who's going to get a lot of the edge runs and the more, open space type stuff. It definitely could be an interesting three-headed monster at the running back position, with Lynch as the road grader, Jackson as the slasher, and the Spiller as the lightning rod. So we'll see what happens with that. The second reason, a real quarterback competition. No more just handing the job to Trent Edwards or, a guy getting injured and being hot and saying, well, this is our guy, then he gets hurt, and another guy steps in and he's hot, like in the 2007 season, then he plays bad and Trent gets the job again. Just from start of camp, mini camp, and so on, I feel like these quarterbacks, 4 quarterbacks, are going to be battling each other from start to finish. That Edwards, Braum, Fitzpatrick, and Levi Brown. I think they'll keep the best three, and just let the chips fall where they may. They've obviously felt more comfortable with these guys instead of going with a green rookie. So I think with obviously a better offensive direction, a concept, a philosophy, that I think the quarterbacks will definitely have a lot more comfort around them, as opposed with the Jaron staff and just Jaron himself. Now, this is like a 1A, 1B reason. It's like two reasons in one. One, the left tackle won't be cut 1 week before the season, as in last season, and Demetrius Bell been thrown to the wolves. I mean, the guy made a lot of mistakes, but again, didn't get to practice with the first unit. Probably didn't know that he was going to be thrown in there. It just eventually got injured, but he played good in spots and he played bad in spots. For a 7th round pick, I mean, he did as good as he could do. But hopefully, with an idea, if he is the starting left tackle, he'll definitely be more prepared and have a better idea of what's going on. And second part of that is your offensive coordinator will be fired 1 week before the season, like Tarek Schonert, and then comes out and says, "Well, Dick wants me to run a Pop Warner offense. What do you want me to do?" And it should have been alarming to a lot of people. And as the season went on, it was pretty apparent that it was pretty ugly offensive idea, whatever he had in his head. God knows what was in it or not in it, more so not in it. And at Buffalo, the team won't be dealing with those two problems, I don't believe. I really don't, and that'll help in turn. Next reason, as you can see, I'm reading off a list. Having an explosive playmaker like C.J. Spiller, not an aging guy like a Terrell Owens, who's just obviously past his prime and relies on a quarterback to get him the ball. And Spiller's a guy you can get the ball in a variety of ways, whether it be in the return game, the running game, the passing game. He's a guy who can definitely electrify, take the ball the distance when he gets in space, and he can break away. And I don't think that's something the Bills have had in a runner in a long time. I mean, Travis Henry wasn't really that kind of running back. Even going back to like Antoine Smith, he was more of a bruiser. McGahee was like that before the knee injury in college and became more of a guy who could break away, but only in spurts. Obviously, Lynch is more of a bruising running back, so I believe Buffalo's really had that type of guy, a guy who can hit the edge and just turn the corner on linebackers and just make a guy miss and take the ball a long way. And I think being able to get his hands on the ball in the passing game, the return game, as well as the running game will definitely make defenses have to cheat up a little bit. Maybe it'll open up things downfield a little bit more for the passing game. But I think having a guy like Spiller can only help. Next reason, a young, hungry receiving core. No more of this. There's been. I was never high on the guy. I never really was a big fan, but I'm just so glad it's finally over. It's just Bills fans just from here to there, just waiting for this breakout year from Josh Reed that never came. It was like, this is the year he's gonna. It was always the year that Josh Reed was gonna break out and be something at least decent. And then last year, his production obviously just went downhill as the offense's entire production was just down, and plus the presence of Terrell Owens. But I think it was just time to turn the page on Josh Reed. I mean, he was an okay intermediate receiver, but you saw even there was times last year, like in the New England game at home, he just dropped that pass that he probably, if he would have caught, he would have took in for a touchdown. And I think it was just time to turn the page, especially having, guys who just aimlessly sat on the bench who you should be playing to see if your team can be better next year, like Steve Johnson, who played well in 08, but for some reason couldn't even get on the field in 09 because they had to appease T.O. and keep him on the field, along with James Hardy, who's fully recovered back, a former second-round pick. Let's see what he's got. Brings size, brings that dimension to the team. See what he has, as well as Steve Smith brings good size. Marcus Easley, he's another guy. He's an interesting guy. Has special team ability, but receiver, you see him. You see him make some catches. You see him make plays on film. Let's see what he has. Maybe the new coaching staff starts a clean slate with Roscoe Parrish. Maybe you can get the ball in space. Apparently, Buffalo's going to go to a bit more of a spread passing attack. Get the ball in space to Roscoe. Maybe this helps him step up his. You see the Roscoe of old in the return game, in the punt return game. That would be nice. Averaging that 10, 12, 13 plus yards on punt returns. So again, I think having a young, eager receiving core will definitely help. And not to mention, Sean Nelson. Here's a guy at the tight end position I think can do some things in the middle of the field. Mike Matthews if he's on the roster, having a real blocking tight end, a legitimate tight end that brings some size and some bulk that can help in the running game, that can help in pass protection, shipping on team's best pass rushers and whatnot. So again, these are reasons why I think the Bills' offense will be better. So on to the next. The next one is just having a real offensive direction under Gailey. Gailey said from day one, I'm the guy who's going to be calling the plays. I'll have an offensive coordinator, I'll have a quarterback coach, but I'm the guy at the end of the day who's going to call the plays and put this thing together. And he said in his opening press conference, if you want something a certain way, you don't mess around and try this or that. You get it the way you want it. And then over time, if it's still the way you want it, you might delegate more responsibilities onto Modkins or whoever. But as of right now, I'm the guy who's going to be calling the plays. And that's just, we haven't really heard that. Like with you've had 3 offensive coordinators. You had Fairchild, Schoner, Van Pelt, and then there was some instances where, Jerron would take over the play calling, like in the Jet game, he called the Lossman rollout, and God knows how many other play calls he did just like that. So having a real offensive direction, having a guy who's saying that, look, I'm the guy, definitely something refreshing to hear, and another reason why I feel it'll be better. Next reason, no more gimmicks like last year, this no-huddle crap, which was just a gimmick, just something to attach us Bills fans to the past. It never really worked. It hurt the Bills more than it helped them. You had a young offensive line, 3 green rookies, Hangartner, who hadn't started any time before his career, was starting center with the Bills, and then you had Butler, who was changing positions, but was injured in the second game and then retired. But it hurt the team more than it helped them really badly, and just a plethora of offsides, false starts, and it would just, again, I don't think there's going to be any gimmicks like that, we're no huddle, we're committed to it, just again a Jerron gimmick. Again, it will make the offense better, I believe, in 10. The offensive line, another reason why I think they'll be better. Older, wiser. You have Wood, Levitri, Bell, all a year older, have more of an idea of what's going on. Hangartner, if he's the center, he's gonna have a better idea. I'm playing against these guys, I'm more comfortable. And then just minus Butler, but Cornell Green has proved he's a steady veteran over the years and can stabilize the right tackle position for definitely a season. So another reason why I think Buffalo's offense will be better in 10. Now here's the last reason. No, I'm sorry, 9th reason. A real strength and conditioning program. Club Jerron is officially closed. These guys, the TVs in the weight room are gone, as we all saw. The 10 TVs, it was just like he said, he wanted to create a work atmosphere, get these guys popping pads in practice, hitting in training camp, doing the correct things in the weight room and on the practice field, whether it's conditioning, practicing, or just in the weight room doing explosive exercises, whatnot. They hired 2 strength and conditioning coaches to oversee this, and you just saw in the Jerron years, you were consistently seeing, 12 to 15, and last year 20 guys on IR. You're just not going to win games like that. You're not going to be a productive team placing that many guys on IR year in and year out. And you saw in Jerron's tenure as he, gradually was, the first year wasn't so much, but then you saw as his presence was growing, it was just getting worse and worse. And, as the players said, he takes care of us, and, the game's not about taking care of people. It's about hitting people and putting bodies on people. And you're not going to do that by not, working hard, practicing hard, doing the correct things. But having a real strength and conditioning program will definitely help this offense be better in 10. The last reason, practicing week in, week out, throughout the entire offseason against a 3-4 defense, because as we know, every other team runs a 3-4 defense in the East, the AFC East, and it has been like that for quite some time, and the Bills have finally followed suit and went back to a 3-4. Last time the Bills were good, they ran a 3-4, and they were one of the only teams in the league to do it. Now they're back to that, thank God. But I think practicing against that style of defense and George Edwards' familiarity with Dolphins personnel and helping beat the Patriots and the Jets in those years will definitely make the Bills' offensive unit better in 2010. Having the quarterbacks having struggled against that defense, sort of more notably Trent Edwards, it'll definitely help their offense be better in 10. For a number of reasons, I think, aside from just practicing against it. You even saw last year Buffalo did make strides against their division opponents, only in one game where they really handled, and that was the Dolphin game in Miami. But outside of that, they beat the Jets in New Jersey. They were in Toronto, but again, Buffalo had no offense whatsoever, really couldn't do anything with the football. They should have won the first New England game. They blew that one, but they definitely should have won that game. And in the second game, again, weren't blown out, but just no offense. The second Dolphin game, they were able to win pretty handily at home. But again, these are reasons why I think, 10 reasons why I think Buffalo's offense would be better in 0-10. And just can't wait to hear what you guys think, Bills fans. And hopefully it's going to be a good 10 season. So keep the comments coming, and thanks for subscribing.